Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of First Down. I'm here with Al and Dylan. My name's Robert. Let's get started with First Down.
Last week I thought the Ravens were gonna kill the Titans. I thought it was gonna be a blowout, just like week 1. The Ravens beat the Steelers, but the Titans surprised me. I mean, the Jaguars lost, Colts lost, but right now I am looking at the Titans with both eyes. I think they might actually challenge the Texans to win the AFC South. What do you guys think?
I think it was a complete fluke. I don't think the Ravens came out to play as well as they should. I think they were a little bit worn out from completely dominating a very good Steelers team that they just came into Tennessee and thought this should be easy. And
I think the Titans could definitely give the Texans a run for their money just because the Jaguars look stagnant and we all know how the Colts look, so they could definitely give the Texans a run for their money. But as far as an AFC contender, I think they would be one and done as far as the playoffs went. But it's only week 2. So.
Chris Johnson only had 53 yards. I mean, he's going to have more yards next week and weeks after this.
Well, that's what he gets for being a holdout. He missed all those practices. So his rust is showing.
Yeah, I think Johnson might be a little bit on the decline, which is a good thing for him that you got that big contract, because I think from here on out you'll see his numbers go down.
Okay. The game that I thought was really exciting was Buffalo and Oakland. The Raiders led 21-3 after the first half. I thought Buffalo was just going to be one and done after that decisive victory over Kansas City. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, who would have thought that he would be one of the fantasy stat leaders? He threw for 264 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a second-half comeback. Fred Jackson, he's the blue-collar beast. He had 15 carries for 117 yards and 2 touchdowns. But I thought, even in a loss, I thought the Raiders looked really strong. They had all second-string and third-string receivers, and Jason Campbell still threw for 323 yards. What do you guys think about the game?
I think Jason Campbell's finally shown the type of quarterback that everybody expected him to be when he was in Washington. Last year he started off kind of well and then fell off. It would be interesting to see where he keeps his production for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I still think it's too early for the Bills next week. If they win next week against the Patriots, then
I love that offense. The only question mark that worried me is after that game is Roscoe Parrish went down with a broken ankle. So he's done for the season, but you've heard of no-name defenses. I think this is the no-name offense.
Okay, and the game I thought was interesting this weekend was Saints and Bears. The Bears just came off that big win against the Falcons, a team that everybody expects to do as well as they did last year. And the Saints started off with a loss against the defending Super Bowl champs, the Green Bay Packers. And the Saints just showed how good they are on the offensive side. Drew Brees went off again, 270 yards. 3 touchdowns. And Jay Cutler didn't do so bad himself. He had about 250 yards with 1 touchdown. That's what I got out of it.
One thing that I got from that game, and a lot of people will see like the hurries and the pressures on Jay Cutler because he just got destroyed. But I still think that Saints defense is suspect. Like, I don't think they're back to their Super Bowl form, if you will. I think that secondary is a little iffy. If they could get their front line shored up. They signed a lot of playmakers that haven't played yet, so it'll be interesting to see how they do against the Texans and stuff like that.
Yeah, Jay Cutler got sacked so many times. Highlights on ESPN were showing sack after sack after sack. That O-line has to get better.
Yeah, he won't make it through the season at that rate.
Yeah, Jay Cutler spends entirely way too much time on his back on the ground, and the O-line needs to pick it up before Cutler goes down for the season.
Definitely.
And let's go to second down now. All right, in second down, we're buying and selling players, teams, and coaches, whatever. Dylan, who are you buying and selling?
All right, this week I'm selling. I don't want any part of it. The Philadelphia Eagles offensive line, they just looked horrible. Michael Vick was on the ground. He went out. End of story. And I'm buying Tom Brady. I know it's a bandwagon pick, but he's a fantasy football god right now.
He's a pretty safe pick. Best quarterback in the league, especially with Peyton down. There's no doubt about it. Your other pick about the O line. Mike Vick got hit a lot, and for once, he really wasn't running around that much. He got hurt in the pocket, which you wouldn't expect from Mike Vick. So those are pretty solid picks.
Vic actually got his head concussion from his own teammate. I mean,
Slammed into his offensive lineman. So much
Yeah,
for
man.
footwork.
I'm selling this week. I'm not buying anyone. I'm selling the Chiefs. The Chiefs mostly due to injuries. Jamal Charles, Eric Berry. They're
Tony Moya.
yeah, him, and I'm selling also Luke McCown. He had 59 yards, 4 picks. See, that guy was awful. That guy shouldn't start ever again.
There's
I
a
mean,
reason he's
yeah.
been a career backup for
Yeah.
8
Yeah.
years.
The McCown was just intended to play like the first 4 weeks, let Blaine get into his zone, especially with the lockout. But apparently now Jacksonville has decided that Blaine needs to be in there now.
Definitely with Del Rio's job on the line, I'd definitely go with Gabbard over McCown.
That whole selling Gerard, I think that really messed them up completely. I think they should have kept him at least a couple of weeks and then start
Who are you
playing.
buying into?
I am buying Ben Tate. A lot of people gave me a hard time when I drafted this guy in fantasy, but I was pretty smart in the end because I knew Aaron Foster's hamstring issues for running backs are horrible. It's almost like, I don't know, a golfer breaking his arm or something. And I knew Ben Tate was going to be big last year. He went down with his ankle injury. It's the first play of the season, preseason. So I'm buying Ben Tate. He is one of the top running backs now.
Definitely.
He's probably going to get the start in week 3, and I'm just excited to see what's going on with there. I am selling the Chicago Bears. Chicago started off very strong against the Falcons, and then this past week against the Saints, they looked like the Bears. And Cutler made some mental mistakes. The offensive line was a little slow off the line. The D showed their age a little bit, especially with Brian Urlacher there in the middle.
One thing I want to go back to really quickly with Ben Tate is I'm kind of worried about whether or not he'll keep the ball high and tight. You saw that fumble week 1. He looked like he had it covered up last week. I'm really anxious to see how he carries the ball as opposed to how many yards he gets.
Yeah, about the Bears, I'm going to wait after week 3 and see how they do against the Packers. That's a test right there.
I still like Matt Forte, and I think if they can get a little bit of hold in that offensive line, I think Roy Williams will come into his own finally. He got out of that stink hole that was Dallas. So I'm anxious to see how good they'll be after week 3.
All right, guys, let's move on to third down. Now for third down, we each preview a game we find interesting this week. I'll go first. This week, I think the interesting game of the week will be that divisional show-off and Monday Night Football, Washington-Dallas. I think the storyline here is that Washington's 2-0. Rex Grossman's coming through with his offseason promises, and he's been playing really well. Dallas is going to have to play without their top playmaker, Miles Austin, who went down. And Tony Romo's playing with a punctured lung, which is kind of extreme. Shows a little bit of his toughness.
The Cowboys, we still don't know whether Tony Romo is actually going to play. Hopefully he does. See what he can do with this wrist. See if he can throw. See if he throws a couple of picks maybe.
Yeah, I really like the Redskins and all facets of their game. Like, they have Rex Grossman's holding up, like you said, Chris Cooley, Jabari Gaffney. They look solid. I like Tim Hightower. I think he's a better fit in that scheme, running the ball. And on the other side of the ball, you got D'Angelo Hall. He's always a safe bet. Brian Rakpo plays like a beast every year. So I really like the Redskins in that game, too.
Yeah, you also have to remember Rex Grossman is not only a Super Bowl quarterback, he's also used to be third stringer for the Houston Texans. So he's kind of on both extreme sides. It's kind of interesting to see where he'll end up at the end of the season.
Yeah, with Rex Grossman, each week you have no idea which Rex Grossman is going to show up. You know, the good one or the bad one.
Yeah.
For my preview, I'm going to do the Bills and the Patriots. The Bills are 2-0. Patriots are 2-0. If the Bills win, they're going to be on every sports TV show, magazines. They're going to be all over the place, 3-0. Everyone's going to be buying the Bills. But if they lose, you know, it goes completely the other way. Oh, the Bills games are fake. They're, you know, the fluke. So it might be an interesting game.
I really like the Bills in that game. I know a lot of people are going to pick the Patriots, but like I said earlier, with that no-name offense, the Patriots, their D is also pretty suspect. Besides that secondary, all you have is Devin McCourty and Patrick Chung, and I think that Ryan Fitzpatrick might have a field day with that.
I think the Patriots are primed to go 16-0 again. They're just too good. Tom Brady does not make many mistakes, and when he does, he fixes them almost on the fly, which is incredible to watch. That he just has so many options on offense. He can check down the West. He can go deep with Chad, who's starting to learn the offense a little bit more. It's just interesting to see their offense at work. And Bill Belichick's going to find a way to fix that defense. That's what he does. That's what he's done his whole career. And I'm not too worried about the Patriots. I think they'll beat the Bills easily, and everybody will know that the Patriots are the team to beat in the AFC.
Yeah, I think I might kind of want to go back on that statement. I know that they're going to have a field day on the offensive side of the ball, but I think the only way that the Bills might win is if they can come up with some plays on defense. You know, you got Jairus Byrd back there, Drayton Florence. If they can get a pick or a fumble, then they might win. They got to stop Tom Brady first.
Yeah. What is your pick?
I wanted to preview the Saints and the Texans. I know it's going to be a tight game there in the Superdome. You know, everyone's going to pick the Saints. I think the Saints are a highly overrated team. They're good at offense, but if you watch the post-game interviews, they're all about letting Devery Henderson and Robert Meacham burn the secondary, which might happen against the Texans because their secondary is iffy still with the acquisitions of Daniel Manning and Jonathan Joseph. But I think on the defensive side of the ball, the Saints are just as iffy, so it's going to be a close game.
The Texans' offense can run with the best of them. We're one of the higher offensive teams, and I'm not too worried about the scores. Like you said, this is the first real test for the Texans secondary. They didn't face that much of a test the first 2 weeks. You're going against Breeze, and you're going against these tough running backs in Mark Ingram and Thomas, and it's interesting to see how they'll react to that.
Yeah.
Well, for the Saints, as long as Drew Brees is quarterback, I think we'll go with the Saints. No matter who they're playing, Drew Brees is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
I think if the Texans win, they jump up to one of those teams to watch.
Definitely. One thing that I want to keep an eye out for is how they're going to stop the run against, like you said, Mark Ingram and Pierre Thomas, because they looked pretty awful.
They're Sproles too.
Yeah, they got gashed up the middle by who is that kid's name for Miami? Rookie?
Thomas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see that. Let's go to fourth down. All right, fourth down. We'll be keeping tally over the rest of the season to see where we're at. Let's start with our picks. Al?
First pick, Giants over the Eagles. Second, Redskins over the Cowboys. And then I got the Bears over the Packers.
And for your wild card?
Wildcard pick, I think the Chiefs need to save their season. I think they do it this week. They beat the Chargers.
All right, I got the Eagles over the Giants. That secondary is just depleted. I got the Redskins over the Cowboys. I love Rex Grossman, sexy Rexy. And the Packers over the Bears. And for my wild card, I'm picking the Bills over the Patriots. I love that offense.
It's a big boy pick right there.
Right there, I'm going all in.
I got the Giants over the Eagles. I just like that defense a little bit more. I got the Skins over the Cowboys. I think the Redskins are really good this year. They really surprised me so thus far. And the Packers are the defending Super Bowl champs for a reason. I think they beat the Bears fairly easily like they did last year in the NFC Championship. And for my wild card pick, I think the Texans move up to big boy status and they beat the Saints.
I like that pick.
Well, that's all for First Down this week. Join us next week when we do it all over again. Thanks.